All right, we are on example number 3. This is a money application. It says the table shows the total cost of fruit per pound purchased at the grocery store. It says use the data to make a graph and then find the slope of the line and explain what it shows. So we're actually going to have to do 3 things with this problem. Number 1, we're going to have to make a graph with the data. So use the data to make a graph. Okay. The second thing we're going to have to do is find the slope of the line. And the third thing we're going to have to do is explain what it shows. So there's 3 things that we need to do for this problem. All right, the first thing is just make a graph. And I'm going to say that that is really not that bad. What we're going to do is just going to graph this data. This table, remember, the pounds, that is our X here. And the cost, that is our Y. So we have a little bit of a table here. Here are our ordered pairs. There's 0, 0 with our X and our Y. And then there's 5, 15, and then 10, 30, and lastly, 15, 45 right there. So we're just going to go ahead and graph those 4 ordered pairs. So the first one's super easy right there. 0, 0, done. The next one is 5, that's pounds, 5 pounds, and the cost of that is $15. The next one is 10 pounds, cost $30. And the last one is 15 pounds of fruit, cost $45. So we graphed those ordered pairs. Now we just need to connect the dots. And we have the graph of our data right here. Very, very cool. Okay, so we graphed our data. That's the first thing. Use the data to make a graph. We did it. That's awesome. Okay, the next thing we have to do is find the slope of the line. Now, we're given 4 points here. We only need 2, so I'm going to choose 2. It doesn't matter which 2 I choose. I could choose any 2, but I'm going to choose this one, 5, 15, and 10, 30. Those are going to be my 2 points that I'm going to choose. So 5, 15, that's going to be my first point, and 10, 30 is going to be my second point. This is going to be my first point, so I'm going to call it x1, y1, and this is my second point. I'm going to call that x2, y2. I'm going to write my slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1, which is something you all need to memorize. Then I'm just going to substitute in the values. So I have my y2 is 30 minus my y1 is 15 all over my x2 is 10 minus my x1 is 5. So I have 30 minus 15, which is 15. And then I have 10 minus 5, which is 5. Now I need to reduce this and put it in lowest terms. So I'm going to say, hey, what number goes into both 15 and 5? And I'm going to say, hey, I think it's 5. 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 5 1 time. So what I'm left with is a slope of 3 over 1, or I could just say that my slope is equal to 3. So I could say m equals 3. That is my slope. Okay, find the slope of the line, done. Now I need to explain what it shows. Okay, to do this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to convert this slope back into a fraction, which is super easy. It is 3, but it's not so easy when you have a pen that doesn't work. Okay, so the slope is 3, right, over 1, right? Now remember, what is the slope? The slope is the change in the y over the change in the x, right? Or the rise over the run. Now, what is the change in the y? Remember, the change in the y was, that was referring back to our cost, okay? So the y, this 3 is referring to the cost, okay? And what is the change in the x? What is the x referring to? Well, the x is referring to the pounds. So this 1 is actually referring to the pounds. So what this means, the cost is in what? Well, the cost is in dollars. So the interpretation of this slope is that for every $3, you can buy 1 pound. And so that's what it means. So for every pound of fruit, it costs $3. However you want to say it. So we can say for every pound of fruit, it costs $3. And that's really what that slope means. So we did all three things. We used the data right here to graph the table. We found the slope of the line, and then we explained what it shows. Make sure when you have graphs that you label. So here it's in pounds, here's the cost, and we have a title for this graph as well. All right, so now it is your turn to check it out and do example 3. Go ahead and make sure you read the directions. So if it asks for 3 things like we did up here, that you do all 3 of those things on the space provided here. So it is time to pause, work it out, and come back, and we'll see you in a little bit. Bye. All right, we are back with example 3. It states the table shows the total cost of gas per gallon. Use the data to make a graph. So we're going to be making a graph. You use the data to make a graph. All right, got it. Done. What else? Find the slope of the line. Okay, I can do that. And then find the slope of the line. Find the slope of the line. And then finally, you're going to need to explain what it shows. Okay, we will do it. All right, so we have the data here. What we have here is the cost of gallons. The gallons, that represents the X variable, and the cost is the Y. So here on our graph, you can see that the X-axis represents our gallons, and the Y-axis represents our cost. So that means that each one of these right here is an order pair. Now I'm running out of room on this side, so I'm just going to write the order pairs on this side. So we have 0, 0, that's the first one, and then the next ordered pair would be 3, 6, and then finally 6, 12. And we just need to go ahead and plot those 3 points. Okay, so the first one's super easy, 0, 0, right there. We have our gallons, we have our cost. The next one is 3, 6. That's 3 gallons. 3 gallons is a cost of $6. So all the way up here, 3 gallons, $6. Got it. And then the third one is 6 gallons, cost $12. $12 right there. All the way up there. So we have our 3 points. We can draw a lovely line through all of those, and notice it is linear. It's very, very straight. And there we go. That is a picture of this data. Okay, so use the data and make a graph. Okay, awesome, we did it. Make sure it's labeled on both the x-axis and the y-axis, and you have a title on it as well. Okay, now we need to find the slope. Find the slope of this lovely graph, and to do that, we're going to pick 2 points. Now, it doesn't matter which 2 we pick, but I'm just going to go ahead and pick these 2. So my first one's going to be 3, 6, and my next one's going to be 6, 12. This is my first point. This is my second point. I'm going to go ahead and label them. This is my first x value, and this is my first y value. This is my second x value and my second y value. Then I'm going to go ahead and write down the slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1, which is something you have to have memorized. And then we're just going to substitute in the values. So the y2 is 12 minus the y1 is 6 all over the x2 is 6 minus the x1 is 3. We get 12 minus 6 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that means our slope equals 2. Awesome. Very, very cool. Okay, find the slope of the line. Did it. It's right there. Okay, now we need to explain what it shows. Okay, so remember, to explain what it shows, we need to think about the slope and convert it back to a fraction. So this is 2 over 1, which is it's referring about the change. The slope is always the change in y over the change in x. So if we look here, the change in y is actually referring to the cost. So cost goes on top, and the x, the change in x, is referring to the gallons. So what we have is that for every 1 gallon, the cost is $2. So that's all we're going to write, is for every gallon of gas, the cost is $2. And there you go. That's the interpretation of the slope. Awesome. If you got that right and you graphed it and you did the slope formula and defined all your variables and wrote the equation and then interpreted it, you are amazing, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.